But the real youth that are going to be the 5–10% are now, their brains are lighting up for liberty, and that scares the system.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And it's in a different context, Alex. I don't want to overstate the analogy, but if we look right now in the White House, you know, we have someone in the White House who's black, but he's really there because people 40 or 50 years, and I was involved in the civil rights movement as well, were working. They aren't in the White House, and I don't think he really understands what was necessary in order to propel him there. It is a different issue with regard to race, but we're talking about basically the same thing. And what's so magnificent about Ron Paul is that he doesn't care. If he's not the one who occupies the White House and someone else stands on his shoulders and gets in the Oval Office, he'll clap. He'll be the first one to clap, even though he's the one, by all merit and justice, who ought to be there. And that is the earmark of someone who's truly great. It's statesmanship's finest hour when you have someone like Ron Paul.
Well, we can't overstate it. And in final conclusion, he is founding father material. If Ron Paul could be teleported back 235, 240 years ago, would he not be, you know, amongst the greats there?
Absolutely. And of all those running for office, he's the only one who had been given an invitation to enter the Constitutional Convention of 1787 in Philadelphia. All the others would have been given no vacancy or eviction notice.
Beautiful. Bruce Fein, you're doing a great... So how are you advising the campaign? Just on constitutional issues?
Well, I'm senior policy advisor. You can imagine it's rather hectic. The travel campaign is very, very hectic. So write op-eds, speak on shows like this, and give guidance there. I think we think in such automatic same furrows, we don't really have to talk to know exactly what kind of approach to take on this. And that's, the great thing about Ron. I don't have to memorize, well, what was he yesterday before today? You know, like all the other candidates, you never know. You're expressing their viewpoint with the human weather vane has changed. So it's really a delight for working with Ron and his team there. I think everybody is really devoted, and none of this self-aggrandizement or pettiness. So it's going to be one of my memories for life, whether we ultimately win or lose.
What can we do more than anything to help the campaign? A lot of people don't know about trying to be involved in the party caucuses. They don't know about being delegates. They don't understand that right now every little thing they do is going to have a huge effect. The system has been trying to black him out and give him 89 seconds in a debate because they're scared. Yeah.
Well, the best thing to do is write letters to the media saying, why are you blacking out Ron Paul? He should get same prominence commensurate with his popularity as others. And also, again, talk to friends and find out what the rules are in your particular state. Every state has different ground rules for whether it's caucus or primary about how you come out, how you vote, how you can make certain that your voice is heard at the primary state. So master that so you know exactly when, where, and how, and encourage all of your friends to show up. But you're exactly right, Alex. Where a whole lot of penetration can be made is the young people because they haven't been co-opted into the military-industrial complex yet. And they're the ones who can make a huge difference in the primary stage by turning out. They've got a lot of kinetic energy. And they're really the ones who have, in some sense, the most at stake because unless this trajectory changes and the way that Ron Paul is pointing towards, they will inherit if it's not a total tyranny, it'll be a semi-tyranny. And they have very, very difficult time extricating themselves. So if they want to enjoy the liberties they got now, they may have to focus themselves on this particular presidential race.
And some are listening right now who won't take it to heart, but the seed is planted, and as things get worse, they'll remember. Bruce Fein, incredible interview, Godspeed, and I'm glad Ron Paul's got you in there as being the senior policy advisor. He couldn't have found somebody better. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Good day.
Thank you. All right, there goes Bruce Fein. Very, very exciting to hear that. And, of course, he's going to get attacked a lot and everything, a lot of disinformation and stuff because the system is scared to death of what's happening. But Bruce Fein definitely burns with a desire for liberty, and that's very exciting. Okay, I'm going to come back. I've already pretty much gotten into Iran, but I'm going to hit that. Obviously, do some overdrive for all the folks that are holding, the military people that are holding. Very powerful broadcast today. The websites are Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.tv. Nightly news is tonight at 7, by the way, 7 Central.
Solar power. Solar power.
Well, that was a powerful interview. The animating contest of liberty. at these headlines. Iran blast completely destroyed major missile testing site, they tell us weeks later. Israel and U.S. intelligence officials tell New York Times recent explosion at military base near Tehran was major setback to Iran's long-range missile program, and Israel tacitly admits they did it. Here's a U.S.-Israel covert war against Iran, and Iran is sitting there and taking it. Again, it's just like Bruce Fein just said, this is madness. And I've been talking to Lindsey Williams. We're going to get him on the next few days. He's saying he talked to his globalist source. I know who it is. And they're saying they're trying to trick Iran into responding. And Iran's now saying they might block the Strait of Hormuz or something. That's falling right into the trap. And I know it's hard for a country to take all this, but we do not want this new war. But the globalists need it as a political distraction. Here's another one, Jerusalem Post. Embattled Assad may start conflict with Israel. They go on to report that the real possibility, Israel's Mossad chief says, that Assad will try to engage Israel's military in order to deflect attention from massacre. Oh, you mean governments launch wars for political purposes to distract? That the shoe goes on the other foot for Netanyahu, wanting to launch this thing with Iran, which is like jumping into a bear trap. Israel's going to be attacked on every side. And then the United States is going to be drug in. And then there'll be terror attacks, whether they're real or manufactured. You can see where this is going. That'll be a nice political diversion while the bankers rob us. Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee Chairman Saul Mofaz warned Monday, if I'm pronouncing that right, that the duress which Syrian President Assad finds himself could soon lead to an armed conflict between Syria and Israel. The closer the Assad regime in Syria gets to the death's door, the bigger the threat against Israel becomes. He went on to tell Army Radio, and that's true. The globalists are really trying to destabilize that whole area. Here's another one. Mysterious blast slaying suggest covert efforts in Iran. Bush launched them 5 years ago. I've been talking about it ever since. It's like if the government doesn't admit something, the media is so stupid, they can't even get the press release Bush put out at the White House 5 years ago. I should have my writers write another article about it just because the morons in mainstream media either don't know or aren't allowed to report it to people. Gee, I wonder if all these big explosions at military bases are some kind of covert strikes. Gee, I wonder if all these leaders getting assassinated is an operation. U.S. official says no sign Iran shot down drone. That was Reuters a few days ago, but now this is out today, Fox News. U.S. military sources, Iran has missing drones, some $6 million, 90-foot wingspan giant drone. Who knows if that thing's even dropping bombs? And again, why doesn't Iran want to admit all this? Because it makes them look weak. They're public. We get really mad if they sit there and take these attacks. There's a report here they're going to be exporting more of our gasoline out of the country, right, as quantities go down. That's some of the key news there. I didn't even really get into all this financial news. This is so important. Fed may give loans to IMF to help eurozone. Again, they've already given them loans. It's their subsidiary, so they're not giving a group loans. It's a total scam. The loans are at 0% interest. They loan it out, so it's free money. Continuing here, there's reports the Fed to fund IMF bypassing congressional refusal on European bailout. Merkozy, they're now combining the names of Merkel and Sarkozy under pressure to agree to budget master plan. And the agreement on the bailout of Europe is the transfer of all sovereignty and power to the private megabanks. Incredible news there. Gingrich favors juries, but not for Americans, just for illegal aliens. Doesn't want you to have juries, but wants illegal aliens to have them. Can't make this up. Donald Trump, again, dismisses Ron Paul as a joke. Donald Trump is a casino-owning thug joke. Piece of trash. That's it for the main transmission. Calls coming up.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
All right, I got to a lot of police and military. I apologize for not getting to everybody. We're in overdrive here. Let's go to Corey, who's active duty military, been holding for over an hour. I appreciate that, Corey. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
Okay.
How you doing, Alex?
Good.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to touch up on here. I'm Title 32 for Connecticut. A little different than Title 10 military. But just giving basically a little bit of an update as to what's going on here, particularly between Massachusetts and Connecticut. We're having actually some congressmen here that we contacted recently. They're, I think it's John Larson, Sean Williams. They're going to try and jump on this to try and get this bill shot down. But then again, we also see we're also starting to see the Occupy Hartford movement. I mean, Connecticut's starting to wake up pretty fast between there and Massachusetts. But yeah, we're trying to get our officers on board as to what this act enables, and it goes back to again what the guys were saying earlier on. It's like if you're going to take an oath, defend it. I mean, it specifically states to defend your constitutional oath from enemies both foreign and domestic. And I'm just sitting here waiting because we had a petition online at whitehouse.gov, and obviously that takes about 25 days to go through before Obama would sign it. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, in the bill itself, it says that it's 60 days active after the president signs it. And we're all just discussing this here now. It's like, should we just take off our uniforms? I mean, how do you defend yourself from that?
Well, it's good to have good people inside the military, inside the police who will speak out, so I wouldn't do that. I would point out this is illegitimate. The government could pass laws saying blonde-haired, blue-eyed people have to, go to prison, or black people have to. It's all illegal. Good points, Corey. Good to hear from you. I'm going to go to Joseph, former military in Texas, listening on XM, channel 166. Joseph, thanks for holding. Welcome.
Alex.
Hi.
I heard you quite a few times played on George Norrie's program, and last night, too. But I been out on the road since 2002, and have the opportunity to partake of that venue on a regular basis. The individual who called in earlier, military, I think it's Marine, but was talking about things that happened in Iraq, like fragging civilians, fragging, I don't know if they're civilians or not, but fragging families in homes.
Yes.
Also, I was in Germany, and I know as an MP, I was once invited to go into a detention cell and beat a prisoner with clubs, and I simply refused to do it. I went outside. Couldn't stop it, but I refused to participate. You do have a choice. I mean, granted, there's kind of a gray area as far as what constitutes a legal order versus an illegal order, but you do have a choice. You don't just have to obey orders blindly, and you don't just have to go along with things that are wrong.
That's right, and it's not just your right, it's your duty. Great points. Trying to jam in as many as I can. Rodrigo, gotta love that name, in Florida, former military. Give us your take on this.
Well, I just wanted to tell you something. As a foreigner, I served in the Marines in 1997. There's a misconception that Americans have about foreigners coming over here, the illegal aliens. People have been coming to this country was formed by people coming from somewhere else because they wanted to.
No, I totally understand that. It's that now the numbers are greater than they've ever been, and the politicians are trying to use the illegals, people that are here illegally, to vote for socialism. That's the issue.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something real quick. South America mainly has been used as America's backyard. They've been moving governments, putting governments, killing people, and everything like that. And the countries have been so corrupt that people come over here. And some of these people think that now they want to defend America and they'll vote for anything the government says. But as a foreigner, seeing the same things happening now to this country that happened to...
Tell you what, we're going to have to keep going. And you know what? I'm going to get your number. You want to be on tomorrow? I want to talk about this because what's done in third world countries is now coming.